Good afternoon. My subject today is resilience and turning on a sixpence. And I guess that's a good subject given what's going on. It may not surprise you to know that that wasn't what I was expecting to speak about or when I was going to speak about it. I was going to do the gala dinner keynote and talk to you about the power of being small and how amazing small businesses are. But given where we are, I would like to say that only a small team could have pulled together turning an action event into a virtual event at virtually no notice. We live in some slightly troubling times at the moment. Some people are so concerned about this virus that they won't go out. Others can't go to do what they want to do because the government has shut it down. How do we, as small businesses, keep going? We don't have the millions of pounds in the bank or access to major funding that a really big corporate has. We can't go, we'll take a dive this quarter, but we'll get back to it. And we're spending a lot of time with my virtual entrepreneurs working out how we're going to manage. And I'm going to start with my tips for virtual entrepreneurs, some of which will apply to you if you're a physical entrepreneur, if you've got a store or an estate agency or something like that. But these are the things we've figured out. First of all, you need a buddy who can step in for you. If you get sick or told to self-isolate and you can't do what you're committed to do, what is your plan? If you haven't got a plan, now would be a very good time to make it. Find someone who is in a similar business to you, but not so dangerous they're going to steal all your business, and arrange a back-to-back resilience buddy arrangement. If you're ill and can't service your clients, what's the plan? If they're ill and can't service the clients, what's the plan? Make sure you have proper arrangements and contracts in your jurisdiction about not stealing everybody's business, because you don't want to come back from this to find you've got an ex-business. Also, pick someone you can trust. If you're well embedded in your community, you know who that is. If not, I suggest you get into the Costa Women Forum and start a conversation while we've all got the time and the space to make appropriate responses. What about if they shut the schools? If you normally work while the kids are in school, it's going to be a bit of a problem if they're home and pinned down with you. Do you have a partner who's also going to be self-isolating or unable to travel? Can you time shift what you do? Can you take care of the kids in the daytime and maybe move some of your work to the evening? Not all work works like that, so you're going to need a plan for how you're going to do the things you normally do that can't be moved when you've got kids running about in the background. I think most of us are going to cut you some slack at the moment if you're doing a telephone conference and you've got kids running about, as long as we can hear what you're saying. But you need to make sure you've got everything set up to be able to shift how you work. It's no good waiting till you're locked up in your house and you can't get going to discover you need a USB stick or something you don't have that you've left at the office. Start your checklist now. If, and I hope this doesn't happen to you, you and the kids and the rest of your family get the virus, it's not going to be very easy to work in the evening. Taking care of sick family, as we all know, is exhausting, and you will only wear yourself out if you're trying to work all night and be Florence Nightingale all day. What is the bare minimum of stuff you need to do, and what's your plan? If your kids are like my kids, they will get bugs serially. One will get it and go down, and just when you think, that's all over, another one will get it. So even with a minor illness, and I really do think for the majority of people this coronavirus is going to be relatively minor, you could have a sick child or a self-isolation routine going on for 6 weeks if everybody goes off at different times. Do have a plan for how you're going to handle business. What's going to happen if your customers can't pay you because they're sick and they can't get into their online banking? Now is a good time to review your terms of business and to consider taking deposits for things you're going to deliver in the future. We have a number of customers in my Koffee Klatch group who trade with people virtually in China and Iran, and they are already being told, I'm sorry, we can't pay you, my cash flow has collapsed, our economy is in free fall, I can't pay you. If you're starting now to provide virtual services for people, consider taking a deposit to tide you through. These marketplaces will come back, but you don't want to be exhausting yourself delivering services that your client can't pay you for. I know when I go to my local supermarket, I can't tell them, I'm going to pay you half now and half later when my clients pay me. Cash is king in a small business. So the number one thing you can do is to make a financial plan. If you're just about to pay really large tax bills, and some of us are, depending where you are in the tax cycle, talk to your accountant, talk to your local tax office and see if there's a way to defer or make staged payments. You may think that I'm worrying you unnecessarily, and I hope that everyone is going to be well. But there's a real difference between the health effects of this virus and the social and economic effects of everybody panicking about it. I'm quite happily sat in Spain today, having come from the UK to a conference, which has now turned to virtual. But not everybody has got such a robust point of view. And if you are worried, if you are panicking, please don't corner the market in toilet rolls or whatever it is you think that you need to stock up on. Be aware of the fact that you have neighbours who can't afford to buy 3 months' worth of food. You have elderly neighbours who cannot go from shop to shop in pursuit of what you've just made everyone run out of stock of. What gets us through now, as always in difficult times, is functioning as a community. I have been ashamed of some of my Facebook and Twitter friends who have posted pictures. Here's me, I've got 45,000 toilet rolls. Here's me, I've got all the fresh bread in the neighbourhood. To be so selfish is one thing. But to be so lacking in self-awareness that you feel this is something it's appropriate to boast about, I find truly shocking. We need to pull together to find ways to keep business going, to keep money going, and to make sure that everybody is all right. And unless your business model is starting a black market business in toilet rolls, this is not the way to go. Our parents and grandparents lived through Spanish flu, world wars, civil wars, disputes, armed uprising, and most of them managed it without a year's supply of toilet rolls. Please think for a moment about what messages you are giving to your children. Mental and emotional resilience is something we not only need to manifest, but we need to teach. If our children see us running about like chickens with our heads cut off because we imagine there might be a world shortage of toilet rolls, we are teaching them that panic is what we expect them to do. This virus is inconvenient, and for a very small amount of people, it is going to be deeply tragic. And for those people, I am truly, truly sorry. But ruining your economy, ruining your mental and emotional health, and setting a bad example to your children is not the way to get through this. One of the greatest gifts we can give the people we love is emotional resilience. Now, I am not a coach, trust me. I'm more of a short, sharp shot than a kind of motivator or someone to encourage you in your times of need. But I know this. If you are sitting here catastrophizing and going, everyone might die, everything might finish, everything might, you will exhaust yourself. And when it comes to you to do something that needs doing, you will be too tired and too stressed to rise to the challenge. What we need to teach our children and the people we love is to take a deep breath. If, by the way, you're a meditation coach or a mental health coach or a resilience coach, get out there. Now is your time. We need to take a breath and we need to make a plan. And that plan has to be realistic. Look what the team have done here. We have amazing people helping us stream the technology to deliver what you were promised at less than 24 hours notice. I'm sorry I can't give you a virtual gala dinner. I suppose it has the one great advantage of not being fattening. And from my point of view, I'm sure I could lose a few pounds without any undue cause for worry. Not everything can be changed or adapted to. Some things have to be endured. I was raised by a woman who frankly was a Nietzschean. And if you don't know about Nietzsche and his philosophy, you could use some of your downtime Googling that and learning. She believed, as he believed, that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. This is true for our business. This is a great opportunity to write that book you meant to write, to deliver that online course you always meant to have time to do, to update your service offering and your prices, to make something that doesn't just exist in one channel. And I appreciate it's really hard if your business currently only functions face-to-face. If you rely on customers to come to your store, now's a great time to go online. If you're a hairdresser or a masseuse, I'm sorry you've got me stumped. I'm not sure I'm ready for a virtual haircut or a virtual massage. But there may be other things around your business you can do to develop additional and alternative income streams. If not, there are things you can do to learn things that will stand you in good stead when all of this comes back. I've been running a small business for 40 years this year. In that time, I have seen a number of virus scares, from SARS to bird flu, you name it. I've also seen at least 3 recessions. I'm still here. And you're still here. And what I have learned from all this is being a small business is amazing. We can turn on a sixpence. We don't have to put a proposal to the board who take 4 months to decide on the investment strategy and then implement something. We can change things today, just as we are, just from where we are. What it takes is a few people to bounce ideas off, and I tell you, the event page for this and the Costa Women Forum is the place to go. We have a lively community of people who are all committed to supporting each other. Not every change in business costs a large amount of money, but we're still going to need to take real care of our cash flow. And this is something I believe firmly. If you have an opportunity and you need to buy something, please buy it from a local business whenever you can. First of all, it's more eco-friendly if you buy local. There's no point shipping everything around the world for no reason. Secondly, it will support someone in your neighbourhood who will buy something in your neighbourhood and help keep everything going. And thirdly, you will probably know that person. And whilst it's lovely to make Coca-Cola and IBM and all these global brands some money, now is a good time to make sure that we help our local communities not just survive, but also thrive. Years ago, I used to live in a Kentish village, and like many villages in England, the local stores were dying. Every time I went to the shops, one more little shop, village shop, baker, butcher had gone, to be replaced by antique shops in our particular village. That was the thing. If I'd wanted to live on Georgian tables, I could have done very well. Whilst I couldn't afford to do all my grocery shopping at the local store because the prices were higher, I always made a point of making sure at least 20% of my spend went to them. One year we had a hurricane, you might have heard of it, in 1987, and the village I lived in was actually at ground zero for that hurricane. It was an interesting experience. I'm a lucky girl. I could sleep for England, so the first I knew about it was when I heard people swearing outside my front door to discover workmen lifting the roof of my house from the road to the pavement in order to try and unblock the roads. I asked them what they were doing, and they told me, "We're moving your roof." And I said, "Well, what's it doing there?" And they said, "Well, did you not hear the storm last night?" And I said, "No." And they told me I was probably the only person in England who could have answered that question with no. A couple of days later, I toddled into my village shop to go and get our regular bread order, and there was a massive queue of people. And I went to the front of the queue because I prepaid my order, and the shopkeeper gave me my bread. And all the people in the queue said, "Why is she getting bread when you've told us you don't have any?" And he said, "She buys bread from me every week. You need to go to Tesco's now, where you always get your bread, and get your bread from them." And they said, "We can't do that, the roads are shut." And he said, "Precisely." When things are difficult, your local community and your local businesses are a lifeline. We love to buy cheap things wholesale at the other end of town, but if we don't support our local businesses now, they're not going to be there. I moved out of that village a long time ago, but I was back there recently having a trip down memory lane, and none of those shops exist anymore. If you want to buy antique furniture or really expensive frocks, that's the place to go. But if and when, and I'm sure it's when, because I lived there a long time, they get shut by another hurricane, another flood, another blizzard, it was quite an adventurous place to live really, you can see why I moved, there will be nowhere in that village anyone can buy food. So if you want to create a resilient economy, supporting small businesses, being a small business, servicing your local community is a powerful, powerful element. And I don't mean this unkindly, but if you can't get that and you feel that the only thing that matters is that you drive 40 miles to get absolutely the top dollar price on something, I kind of don't want to be there the day you can't do the driving and there's nothing on offer for you. The global economy has intermeshed us in all sorts of ways. Sitting in my back bedroom, and this isn't it, by the way, this is Addie's glorious room that she set aside for us to do this in. I can trade literally all over the world. But I never forget, much as I sell globally, that I do have a duty to buy and live locally. We are the mighty small ones. We are the little ones that nobody notices. When I first got into business 40 years ago, I thought success in business meant making $1 million. You know, Richard Branson, somebody big and all that stuff. So for the first 10 years I was in business, I thought I was an abject failure. I still haven't made $1 million, by the way, as far as I know, though I might be very rich in some currency I've never heard of. But this is what I have learned. I put my kids through school, I raised my family, I paid my bills, I've contributed to my local community, and I've come to understand that the vast majority of businesses in the world, more than 60% in most economies, are what the Americans rather peculiarly call mom and pop businesses, family-owned micropreneurs, solopreneurs. We're not global like the big boys, but we are mighty. We pay our taxes. We're too small to hide it all in the Panama or in the Cayman Islands. We send our kids to school, and when we've got enough money, we actually buy shoes for them. We're not sorting it away in unlabelled accounts. We are not hiding our money. We are living our lives. After 40 years in business, I've finally come to understand that for me, that is success. It's not sucking the life out of the economy and being selfish and being one person on an island with 6 other fat rich people. It's knowing that we thrive and survive where we find ourselves, building the relationships and communities we need, not just to make money, but to live a life. That is my philosophy. That is what I teach with my virtual entrepreneurs. And for those of you asking, my name is Annabel Kaye. My brand on Facebook, you can check it out, is Koffee Klatch. And we are all about having that conversation because we are mighty, even if we are not big, fat global entrepreneurs driving that polluting Mercedes. And if you've got one, good luck to you. I'm not knocking what anybody else does. But being resilient comes from being flexible. And being small comes from being flexible. So if we make the right plans and we reach out and collaborate with the right people, I promise you, we can get through all of this without any of these stupid top-down plans that governments make to deliver us a solution by Christmas to what we urgently need today. If you're having problems, touch base in the various groups you belong to. This is a great time to reach out to your community. For every problem, there is a solution. I am not saying that anyone's got a cure for this bug. Nobody's invented one, and as far as I know, it's going to take time. Anybody who sells you snake oil and wampum and says, buy this amulet, take this stuff, I think should be treated with more than a pinch of salt. Let us assume that most of us will get at least a minor version of this and make our plans accordingly. I'm going to miss the dancing and the conferences for a few months, and I'm so going to miss our life in Spain and France and everywhere else. But we are going to manage, and we need you solvent and trading and having a life when this is done. And I sincerely hope you're not going to invest all your working capital in toilet rolls, unless you are going to start trading toilet rolls, but keep some back to make sure you can support your cash flow and spend the rest wisely and supportively where your community can most benefit. Life is short. But that doesn't mean that we have to eat everything, own everything, grab everything in order to survive. There is a madness in the world today, and you do not have to participate. Live a rich life, enjoy your community and your family, and whatever you do, take care of you and yours and your business. I hope you found that helpful. My name's Annabel Kaye, and I think I'm about to finish early because I always do.